Hello everyone! So with the release of Bloomburrow, everyone gets a whole bunch more cute small animals, things like frogs and squirrels and lizards and raccoons and all of that. But today we're going to take a look at squirrels with my favorite squirrel commander, Chatterfang, the Squirrel General. Now, this guy has Forest Walk, which is a fun little extra perk, but as a 3-mana 3/3, if one or more tokens would be created under our control, we get that many tokens plus 1/1 green squirrel creature token, which is great because he synergizes so well with all of our token generators, which we have a bunch of in the deck. Additionally, we do have access to black mana because of this black ability down here, where we can sacrifice X squirrels to give target creature plus X minus X until the end of turn, where X is, of course, the number of squirrels sacrificed. This is great because we can use this to remove our opponent's creatures. We can use this for a little bit of extra power on some of our creatures in a pinch, but again, most of the time this is going to be removal. Now, taking a look at the core of this deck, we do have the ability to kind of combo off and win the game. So I'm going to go kind of reverse order here. First, we have our tutor effects for finding the creatures we need to do this. Sylvan Tutor is a great card for just getting a creature on top of our library. Diabolic Intent works really well with this because we're going to have a bunch of tokens, which we don't mind sacrificing. Eldritch Evolution is in a similar vein to that, where we have a bunch of things that we can sacrifice to get one of the creatures that we need onto the battlefield. And then Chord of Calling is also very strong here because of Convoke. We're making tons of creature tokens, so oftentimes we're going to be able to play this essentially for free, just tapping down some of our creatures. Now, how are we going to win the game by comboing off? Well, we have these Blood Artist type effects. So whenever a creature dies, opponent loses a life. Marionette Apprentice does the same thing, except it's for artifacts as well as creatures. We have Zulaport Cutthroat, which will gain us some life and have our opponent lose some life when creatures die. Same thing as Blood Artist. Bastion of Remembrance does the same thing, but it also generates a token. And then Mirkwood Bats is going to ping our opponents when we both create or sacrifice tokens, which of course we'll be doing a whole bunch of. So then at the core, what is our main combo? Well, we have a couple of enablers here. So Ruthless Knave is one of our sacrifice options here, where we can pay 3 mana, sacrifice a creature, and create 2 treasure tokens. Now, on its own, this doesn't go infinite, but with a token doubler, we'll get 4 treasure tokens and be able to do this over and over again with Chatterfang, of course, and get a bunch of squirrels. If we have Ruthless Knave and Pitiless Plunderer, we can also get some additional treasures when our creatures are dying, which is going to let us keep that combo going. And of course, paired with this, will drain our opponent out of the game. But I think the main one that we want to pick up most often is the Warren Soul Trader. This guy lets us pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, create a treasure token. So notably with Chatterfang on the battlefield, we can sacrifice a squirrel, create a treasure token, make a squirrel, sacrifice the squirrel, and all of our life we can convert directly into treasure tokens and then use all of our extra mana to find other things. Now, of course, here the only limitation is our life, so the best way to get around that is by having something like Blood Artist that gives us the life gain when our creatures are dying, and that's going to go ahead and enable us to go infinite and drain our opponent out of the game. Now, the rest of the deck is fairly straightforward. We've talked about the combo already, but then we have a bunch of token generators and some other things that will help us ramp up to where we want to get to, some interaction and things like that. I'll just call out a couple of the fun options that we have here. So newly included, Valley Mightcaller. This guy has Trample. For 1 mana, this is a great turn 1 play, and then whenever another frog, rabbit, raccoon, or squirrel enters the battlefield, we get to put a +1/+1 counter on this guy, and he does have Trample. So notably, we can win the game with a Valley Mightcaller, just making infinite squirrels, even if there's nothing that we could do about it. So that kind of makes some of our other combos a little bit better. Let's see. Additionally, we do have the Valley Rockcaller. In a similar vein, if we can make infinite squirrels and attack, I mean, we only need a number of squirrels equal to our opponent's life, but this is great for life gain, and of course, attacking, we could potentially kill our opponent outright if we have enough squirrel tokens. Now, some of the other big cards that are pretty important for us, things like Doubling Season, Primal Vigor, and Parallel Lives are ways to double our tokens, and of course we want more tokens if we want to be able to win the game. Second Harvest is an instant. It's not going to do this permanently, but it is a great way to just get a ton of tokens onto the battlefield. One of the fun things we could do to kind of lock our opponents out of the game is play out a Grave Pact here. Whenever a creature we control dies, each other player will sacrifice a creature. Obviously, we'll be sacrificing our Squirrel tokens, and we can use Chatterfang's 1 black mana ability to sacrifice as many Squirrels as we want. With a Grave Pact on the battlefield, we might be able to just wipe our opponent's board on repeat. Black Market Connections is a really strong token generator for us as well, because that Treasure token and that Shapeshifter token both will trigger the Chatterfang's ability to make squirrels for us, so that's kind of cool. And then just at the top end of the deck, we have a couple other things that'll help us out here. Ancient Impersator having Convoke is a great way to get a really big guy onto the battlefield, so it's not uncommon for us to get this guy out here for like 18/18 or something like that. Old Gnawbone turns combat damage into treasure tokens, and tokens are squirrels with Chatterfang, so that's pretty cool. And then, of course, going wide with all those 1/1 squirrels, Craterhoof Behemoth is another great way to close out the game. Now, in the mana base, we have nothing too crazy, but we do have some of the token generators in there, things like Kalani Gardens, things like the Mirex, so we can actually get their tokens. And then, of course, we do have some landfall triggers and things like that as well. Aside from that, though, feel free to take a look over all the cards here. If you have any questions, let me know. But let's go ahead and see how this deck does. Alright, so we're going first here. This isn't a bad starting hand. I am going to take a mulligan, see if we can find something a little bit better. I like this. I guess this will be keepable. Grave Pact will be fun if we can get that going. We're playing up against a fun bird here. And it seems like they are definitely focusing on wiping our board and dealing damage to us. I would not at all be surprised if that's their primary game plan. Fortunately for us, most of our creatures are base power 1 anyway. Let's go ahead and play you out. This guy's just going to get bigger as we have squirrels and or food tokens enter the battlefield, and we do like making tokens. Yeah, so they just have a bunch of single target removal. It's going to be almost impossible to keep anything on the battlefield. That's why Grave Pact is going to be so good for us. Yeah, so I think the card they're looking for, it's Knights something. It's a 4-mana spell, it gives everything -2/-2. I'm just going to play a Grave Pact, and now all of our creatures turn into board wipes for our opponent. Or at least 4 sack triggers. So they play the enchantment. No, a Phyrexian Obliterator. Alright, interesting. Alright, what do I want to do here? Honestly, I think I let it hit me once. I'm just gonna go ahead and play out the Catacombs. And pass the turn. Surely Obliterator wasn't the card that they searched for, right? I mean, they basically have a combo in this deck that could lock us out of having creatures, so it would surprise me if that was the case, but, yeah. Who knows? So we'll take the 5 here. Gonna use Verdant Catacombs. I'm not too concerned about landfall triggers, and let's grab the Tomb, have it enter tapped. Okay, Old Gnawbone, kind of fun. Let's go Chatterfang. Chatterstorm. Yep. Make a bunch of squirrels. Then we'll end the turn. We'll hold up Village Rites. We can use that to sack a creature and force our opponent to sack. We can also use Chatterfang to sack any number of squirrels and wipe our opponent's board, depending on what it is that they decide to play. Yeah. So Village Rites here. I mean, I might as well get value if he's going to die anyway. Back in the command zone. Okay, sack your Obliterator. And then, of course, I'll draw 2 cards back here. This is looking pretty good. We'll be able to replay Chatterfang, go Chatter the Squirrel or something like that. And then still hold up mana for either Chatterfang's ability or Bone Shards or something, depending on what our opponent does. Yeah, that's fine. Wipe the board. They kind of had to do that. Go Chatterfang. Here, Verdant Command, I'll hold that up instead of playing Chatter right now. If they have the removal, they have the removal, but I think right now we have a little bit more card advantage, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. Okay. Yeah, alright, so, I might as well just make my Squirrel tokens, right? Gain some life. We'll do that now. I'll have more creatures. Opponent with one card in hand, so they're not in the best spot anymore. I'll be able to replay Chatterfang again later. I mean, if they're willing to keep their board empty. I mean, as long as I could provide any amount of pressure, we're going to be in a good spot. Old Gnawbone comes out now. I'll swing for 4. I mean, they could probably remove it. Nope, we've got it. All right. Alright, well, here we are going first, and I could not have asked for a better starting hand. We have the Soul Trader and the Cutthroat here. So as long as everything continues to go well, we should have a fairly early win. Maybe looking at turn 4 here. We have all the mana we need to get there as well. I'm gonna play the Overgrown Tomb, tapped, save a little bit of life. First, the Silence on Chatterfang is gonna slow us down just a little bit. But that's alright. Turn 2, play out the Cutthroat. Now, having Victimize here is fine, just because if our opponent does manage to kill the Cutthroat, we can potentially get it back just by sacking a creature. Gonna need to see one more mana so we can actually play out our Chatterfang. Go for the throat. Cutthroat dies. That's fine. Alright. So we play out the Soul Trader here. We don't care if our opponent removes it as long as it's not exile removal. Next turn, turn 4, we have Parallel Lives, then we can play Chatterfang. At that point, we'll just kind of need a token, and then we should be good to go. Sure, that's fine by me. Start by swinging. No blocks. Parallel Lives. Again, we're in a very strong situation here. I'm gonna try and get Chatterfang out next turn. Lily sacrifice Soul Trader, that's fine.
This is my home, and I don't appreciate when people touch my things.
Again, we can get them both back with Victimize. Okay, Doubling Season, pretty fun, but not entirely what we're looking for here. I'm gonna play out Chatterfang. Opponent can draw a card. So now all we need is a way to make a token. And we've got it at this point, right? Anything for 2 mana or fewer that will let us make a token will be fine. Chatterfang needs to stay alive here. My guess is they're going to plus Lily. At that point, Old Gnawbone is probably what we're going to discard. He's just a little too expensive for us right now. We're going for a quicker win. Oh, and we've got it. Alright, so we're on the play here. This doesn't look terrible. I still think we could do a little bit better. I'm going to take a mulligan. Yeah, so I like this a lot better. We'll go ahead and keep. So our opponent's going to be making a bunch of soldier tokens. So that's fun. I'm going to start with the Sylvan Tutor. And I mean, nice and early, they probably won't have any discard. We'll let them know that we have Foreign Soul Trader. And it might make them play a little bit faster, but I kind of don't mind. I'm just going to go ahead and have this enter tapped, and I'm going to save the Squirrel Sanctuary. I don't need the token right away. Okay, Black Market Connections is really good for us here. I want double black mana. And we'll play Chatterfang, and then next turn, if we draw land, we're going to be in a really good spot, and if we don't, I still think we're fine. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna play out the Warren Soul Trader. We're gonna play out Squirrel Sanctuary. Make some squirrels. Now we're gonna start getting us some mana. Now, of course, we are limited by our own life here. But it looks like we've got it anyway. Alright, so we're going first here. Eldritch Evolution and a Secret Swarm for tokens, along with a bunch of other things. I do kinda like this. I'm still gonna take the mulligan, though. I think we could do better. Like this. I think this is better. So we'll go ahead, keep this instead. We're gonna go Overgrown Tomb. Turn 2, we have Zulaport Cutthroat. Then after that, we have Bastion. We'll probably try to play Chatterfang first. Ooh, okay. Valley Might Caller. Do I want to play this now? I kind of do. We're gonna hang on to Zulaport Cutthroat. Then I'm gonna play out a Phyrexian Tower. Maybe they'll think that we have, like, a removal spell or something, and it'll slow down their creature plays. Okay, that's fine. A Chord of Calling, that's really good. Swing for 2. Alright. Ruthless Knave. Also a pretty good option for us, unfortunately. We're gonna have to go Bastion here. We don't have enough creatures to convoke appropriately with Chord of Calling, but I am gonna swing for 6. Right now, next turn, we should be able to win the game. If Chatterfang doesn't die, and we keep all of our tokens. Okay. Sacrifice it? No, I'll take 2 damage. Heroic Intervention. Alright, so, I mean, here we just do Chord on 3. I'm gonna hit full control first, because Phyrexian Tower loves sacrificing the things that I don't want it to. I'm gonna go ahead, tap down you, and then we'll get double black off of... Actually, wait. Sorry, we can't do both because of the convoking, so we tap here. And we'll just tap like normal. I want the Might Caller to stay up. Solve. We get the Soul Trader. We sack this guy. And then we've, at this point, won the game. So it's gonna take a couple of clicks. Oh, let me pull us out of full control really quick. And yeah, we've got it. Alright, Minsk and Boo, and we have a really strong opening hand. Like, incredibly strong. We should be able to win this game on turn 4. So let's see, Ragavan, sure. And Verdant Catacombs does kind of seal the deal here. We're gonna play that out turn 1. Now we'll have access to 4 mana. Looking good. All we need to do is stay a little bit healthy. Opponent's getting some treasures. Alright. Yep, Bristly Bill. Sure. So we'll go here. There we go. Overgrown Tomb. Have that enter tapped. Yep. Landfall, +1/+1 counter on it. Sure. Perfect. Turn 2, Arcane Signet. Next turn, I think I play out Squirrel Sovereign. But I, of course, have other options. So right here, the big important question is whether or not my opponent has removal, right? Draw a card, sure. Yeah, some landfall triggers. Interesting that they're doing this post-combat. Okay, sword. Sure. So I just really need Chatterfang to stay alive. That's the only thing I need. I'm going to play out Chatterfang this turn. Next turn I'll have 5 mana. That gives me Soul Trader, Squirrel Sovereign, and then all I need is enough mana to be able to cast a spell that's going to drain our opponents. So they have this turn to kill Chatterfang. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Actually, don't run too much removal in this deck, so I'm not really afraid of Ragavan stealing it. 7. I could get a Drain spell within 7 mana. Okay, perfect. They didn't take anything that scares me too much. Again, next turn, it's Warren Soul Trader. I play out Squirrel Sovereign. I sack that, make a treasure and a squirrel. And then I make enough treasures to be able to play out something like, I don't know, Blood Artist with Court of Calling or Diabolic Intent. Whatever's faster. I'm not going to really do the quick math yet, but we will see. Okay, draw a card. Okay. Just hoping for no Lightning Bolt. I mean, Lightning Bolt is the only thing that should cause us a big problem here. So let's go Warren Soul Trader. Squirrel Sovereign. Sack the Sovereign. Sack the Squirrel. I mean... Okay, so... we are just barely going to be able to make it. Now, let's see. Really quick. Yeah. This for X3. X2 actually would have been fine, so I did lose a little bit extra life. Let's go Blood Artist. And now we've got the game. So maybe... Yep. Alright, everyone, I hope you enjoyed. If you did like this deck list is down in the description, and we were able to get a ton of value out of this today. So I will say, right now, the biggest issue that you'll have when playing this deck is if your opponent has removal to disrupt your board state, right? Anyone with board wipes are going to be able to kill all of your tokens, but you do have the ability to combo off very quickly, and you can stay in the game for much longer than you might think. Cards like Victimize, which we talked about during that one game, are a great way to pull some creatures that have died back out onto the battlefield and quickly reassemble your combo for a win, so don't think you've lost the game until you really lost it. Court of Calling is great here because it lets you find that one last piece you need, and really everything kind of revolves around the Warren Soul Trader. That's the best way to combo win. That being said, though, you don't necessarily need to have that combo to win. There are other ways that you could get a lot of value. I mean, just having a wide board filled with squirrels and maybe using something like Chitter Spitter to buff them up could be a great way to accomplish that as well. Yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you have any ideas for another deck that you'd like to see me play, why don't you let me know in a comment down below, and I'll see you all next time.